Okay, we're going to talk about how to find your proper squat stance. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your back. You're going to bring your knee up and you're going to pull it to your chest as far as you can. Your leg's going to be fully relaxed. So relax the leg, pull it to your chest. If this feels tight and uncomfortable, that means you're for sure not squatting here. Then you're going to keep that pull to your chest and you're just going to move it out until you feel like a space open up in your hips, or maybe it feels most comfortable. Like for me right there is where it feels most comfortable. Right here feels bound up. I move out, I move out, I move out. It gets released and that feels good right there. So that's where I'd want to squat. I do the same thing on the other side. I pull that knee to my chest to keep it relaxed. And I'm going to move it out so I feel more range of motion, which is about right there again. So that's going to be my squat stance. So then I would stand up. I get back into that squat stance. So you have two options: feet straight forward, feet slightly turned out. So feet straight forward is best for if you're an athlete, because as an athlete, you're doing a lot of running around and a lot of stopping and then turning. So if you have your feet turned out and you're practicing this all the time, you're more prone to land like this and be prone to roll your ankle left or right. So you always want to have your feet straight forward. Okay, so that's really important. If you're not an athlete, then you have more freedom to go where it feels most comfortable, which for me, slightly turned out, which is the other reason why I do this, is because it helps me engage my glutes better, and I have a greater range of motion in my hips with that slight turnout of my feet, so I can get lower. And as a power lifter, I want to get that depth, so this is where I would squat. But if you're an athlete, a football player, a basketball player, anything like that, you want to have your feet straight forward. So slight turnout if that's what you want, or feet straight forward if you're more of an athlete, or even if you're an avid hiker or anything like that. This is where you want to go. You're just not going to be able to get as low as you are probably going to get with maybe a slight turnout right here. So then after that, you want to make sure you take your feet, you spread your toes, and you grip the ground, which I've already talked about this in other videos. But if this is your feet, you're going to spread it as far as you can. If this is your big toe, you want to try to get that out and down, and then screw that foot in. So these are your feet. If you have a newspaper, you want to rip the newspaper, so you're essentially doing this with your feet without actually moving them. So you spread them, grab them, rip the newspaper. So with my feet, I spread, I grab them, I rip the newspaper, and my glutes are engaged, and I should feel my glutes firing when I do that. So I can already feel my glutes without even doing anything. And that's how you find your squat stance, and that's also how you engage your feet properly when you're doing a squat. We're going to talk about how to squat properly. So in the other video, you learned how to find your squat stance. So then you would find your squat stance depending on where your feet are. And then the first thing you want to do is spread your toes and grip the ground with your feet. When you do that, you should feel the glutes turn on. And you should have learned that in the other video. So now you're going to be in your squat stance. Most common thing when people are squatting, they'll bend like this and they'll squat like this. This is a no-no, because that's going to load your knees. That's going to create knee pain. So you want to have something behind you like a box to teach you how to bend through your hips. So you want to think about someone's pushing your hips back, and you're going to sit back onto that box. You touch that box and you come up. So big things is you sit back. When you touch that box, you want to think pull your shins back as your hips come forward. So this is going to happen. That's going to load your hamstrings and your glutes. So your hips go back, your shins come back as your hips come forward. Now you're loading this. A lot of people will come here and they'll shift forward to come up, and they load all their quads. So you got to go back in your hips, pull my shins back, push my hips forward. Now I'm loading this, and I'm pushing through my full foot. If I have a hard time feeling my glutes, I push a little bit more through my heels to really activate that backside of my body. Next thing is you want to breathe. So you go big inhale through the nose, brace your abs, sit back in your hips, exhale, squeeze your abs and glutes at the same time. And those are going to be your mechanics on how to properly squat. A lot of people don't like bending their body. They'll get scared, but you have to allow your body to bend with you. Keep your core tight to stabilize everything. Drive through your glutes, drive through your abs to come back up. We are going to teach you how to do a back squat. So before this video, you should have watched the video of how to engage your feet properly. That is key because we're going to be using that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to walk up to the bar. You're going to put your hands on the, find the grip mark. You're going to take your thumb at the edge of the grip mark. You're going to wrap your thumbs around, and then you're going to break the bar. And when I mean break the bar, you want to think about there's a stick, and you're going to break that stick in half. That motion is going to help engage your lats. So you're going to come here, you're going to break the bar, you're engaging those lats, you're going to pull your body forward as far as you can to get your shoulders to be pulled down. Then you're going to place that bar on your traps, not on your neck up here, it's on that meaty part of your traps. You're going to get that bar placed, then you're going to take your feet and you're going to go into your squat stance. Once you're in your squat stance, you're going to spread your toes, grip the ground. Then you're going to take your hands and you're going to pull them in as far as you can. I'm already kind of there, but let's say you started out here. You would want to pull them in as far as you can and do it at a comfortable level. So if this starts hurting your shoulders, you probably don't have the mobility for that quite yet. So you just go where you have the mobility and you can work on pulling them in closer as you gain that mobility. So you get your hands in the position, you spread your toes, you grip the ground, right? I'm kind of screwing my feet out. I go big inhale through my nose, big exhale through my mouth. I lift my weight up. I take 1, 2, then you take a third step to kind of situate your feet. You spread your toes, you grip the ground, then you take your elbows and you're going to push them forward. Okay, so this is very important because if your elbows are here, you're going to be more like this. You want to make sure your elbows are forward, because that forward position is going to keep you more upright. So elbows come forward, you spread your toes, you grab the ground. You're going to sit back in your hips, keep that tension through your feet, and then you're going to drive through your whole foot as you come up. Okay, so this is a big no-no. This is loading your knees. This is going to develop knee pain. You don't want that. So you're going to grip the ground, you're going to hinge, push your hips back. Think about keeping your shins back. You hit that range of motion. And then as you stand up, you're going to pull your shins back as your hips come forward. So then you're loading your glutes and your hamstrings. And as you're doing that, you're keeping your feet gripped and you're pushing through the whole entire foot to keep your glutes and hamstrings engaged. If you're getting that knee pain, you're most likely doing this going into the toes and your heels are not having that pressure needs. So you got to keep the weight back in your full foot. So you want to go right through that center of the foot. And you're going to drive all the way up. If you have a hard time feeling the glutes, you then want to focus on keeping a little bit more of your pressure in the heel of your foot. Still want your full foot engaged, but the pressure through the heel will help you get your glutes activated. And that's how you do a back squat.